Marcus Reed stepped through the glass doors of the Manhattan auction house with his 10-year-old daughter Lily holding his hand. The building looked more like a palace than an auction venue. Crystal chandeliers hung from the ceiling. Polished marble covered the floors, and security guards stood beside paintings worth millions of dollars. Men in tailored tuxedos and women wearing designer gowns moved through the ballroom, laughing over champagne and discussing investments. Marcus looked completely out of place. He wore a simple navy jacket, a white shirt and black shoes that had clearly seen better days. He wasn't embarrassed. He had learned years ago that expensive clothes didn't determine a person's worth. Lily, however, kept looking around nervously. "Dad, are we really supposed to be here?" she whispered. Marcus smiled. "We are exactly where we're supposed to be." They found 2 seats near the back of the ballroom. Several guests glanced at Marcus before quickly looking away. One woman even whispered something to her husband and both laughed. Marcus ignored them. He had come for one reason, a 1967 Ford Mustang Shelby GT 500 was scheduled to be auctioned that evening. To everyone else, it was a valuable classic car. To Marcus, it was a piece of his childhood. His father, Robert Reed, had owned the exact car when Marcus was a boy. Every Sunday morning, they had driven through the streets outside Philadelphia with the windows down. His father used to tell him one day, "Son, this car will be yours." But life had other plans after Robert died unexpectedly. The family business collapsed under debt. Marcus had been forced to sell the Mustang to help his mother and younger siblings survive. He had never forgotten it years later. Marcus had quietly rebuilt his life. He worked hard, invested carefully, and eventually became a successful business owner. Yet he never forgot the car. Tonight he had finally found it. When the auctioneer announced the Mustang, the ballroom became silent. The car rolled onto the platform beneath bright lights. Its deep blue paint gleamed like it had just left the factory. Marcus felt his chest tighten. "That's Grandpa's car," Lily whispered. Marcus nodded. The bidding started at $400,000. Hands immediately rose across the room. $500,000, $650,000, $800,000. Marcus remained completely still. People around him continued bidding, unaware that the quiet single father sitting in the back was waiting for the exact right moment. Finally, the auctioneer called out $1 million. A wealthy investor raised his paddle. Marcus slowly reached for his own. Lily stared at him. "Dad." Marcus looked at her and smiled. Then he raised the paddle. The entire ballroom turned toward him. The entire ballroom turned toward Marcus as he raised his paddle. For several seconds, nobody spoke. The auctioneer looked surprised, then quickly recovered. "1 million, do I hear 1.1? A man in a black tuxedo raised his paddle. 1.1 million. Marcus didn't hesitate. 1.2 whispers spread through the room. The wealthy guests who had ignored him moments earlier were now staring at him. Some looked confused, others looked amused. The man in the tuxedo raised his paddle again. 1.3. Marcus looked at the Mustang sitting beneath the bright lights. He remembered his father polishing that same car every Saturday morning, humming old songs while Marcus watched from the garage steps. 1.5 million, Marcus said. The room fell silent. The auctioneer swallowed. "Do I hear 1.6? The tuxedoed man raised his paddle. 1.6. Marcus's daughter squeezed his hand. "Dad, you don't have to buy it." Marcus looked down at her. "I know." Then he raised his paddle again. 2 million. A stunned silence swept across the ballroom. The wealthy investor laughed loudly. 2 million you! Marcus calmly lowered his paddle. The man pointed toward him. "You don't even look like you belong in this room." Marcus didn't respond. The auctioneer looked toward him. "Sir, are you certain?" Marcus nodded absolutely. The auctioneer requested proof of funds. Marcus opened a leather folder and handed over a certified bank check. The auction staff examined it. Then their expressions changed. The auctioneer looked at Marcus with sudden respect. "Ladies and gentlemen, we have a verified $2 million bid." Nobody laughed anymore. The investor who had mocked Marcus leaned back in his chair, speechless. After one final call, the auctioneer brought down the hammer sold. Applause filled the room. Marcus didn't celebrate. He simply closed his eyes for a moment. His father had once told him that losing everything wasn't the same as losing yourself. Marcus had carried those words for years now, after decades. He had finally bought back the one thing he thought he would never see again. Lily hugged him tightly. "Grandpa would be happy," she whispered. Marcus smiled. I think he would later. Outside the auction house, the Mustang waited under the city lights. Marcus walked toward it slowly, almost afraid that if he touched it, the moment would disappear. He placed his hand on the hood. The same shape, the same emblem, the same memories. Lily stood beside him. Where are we going? Marcus opened the driver's door and smiled. Home as the engine roared to life. Marcus looked into the rearview mirror and saw Lily smiling. For the first time in years, he felt that a chapter of his life had finally come full circle.